Over the past year and a half, I have been ghosted, I have been ignored, and it seems like no matter what I try, I cannot land a job. But today, I don't want to talk about my story. I want to talk about the stories of others that I found online, found on social media. For instance, we have Olivia on LinkedIn, and she says, I can't find a job anywhere or in anything. I've applied at Costco, Target, Trader Joe's, etc. I've even stepped outside of my normal industry and I've applied to be a receptionist, data entry specialist, brand ambassador, babysitter, hotel front desk, a parking attendant, hostess, server, etc. And I can't land a job in any of that. The competition for any kind of job is stiff because so many people need jobs and there aren't enough jobs to go around. Not only is job searching a time consuming process, but it can also hit someone hard financially. Come May, I will need to borrow money from my parents and I will officially be out of savings. So this goes to the people who say that you need to humble yourself. You need to lower your expectations. Well, we have Olivia's case where she's trying to get a job in any kind of arena. And we're talking about grocery stores like Trader Joe's. We're talking about retailers such as Target, and still not able to get a job. Things that should be the ultimate bare level, entry level kind of roles like data entry, she's not able to get. And this is a real issue because people are going through their savings. And I know if you've watched this channel before, you say, well, how are you still surviving? And well, the main reason that I'm still able to survive is because of savings, because of saving up for a rainy day that turned into a rainy month, that's turned into like a rainy year and a half. And I am fortunate that I was able to have a good amount of cash savings just in case something were to happen. But many people are not in that same boat, and I definitely feel bad for them. So Olivia is talking about in May, and this was posted a couple of days ago here in April, that she's going to run out of savings. And then she's going to have to ask families for support or for friends for support. And that's also not a scenario that many people are going to have because everyone seems to be struggling. You may not have a parent who can give you a few $1,000s. You may not have some friends who can lend you some money when you run out. So, I mean, people are out here working hard, and they're applying to any kind of job possible and still noting, no luck, no success, nothing at all. But let's continue with what Olivia has to say. While the time it takes to find a job varies, unemployment data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the median unemployment duration in October 2024 was 22.9 weeks, or a little over 5 months. Depending on the economy, industry, and qualification requirements, it can take even longer. I was recently told that people are out of work for 1 month for every $10,000 they earn. So if someone was at $100,000, it's about 10 months, give or take. Market conditions, and so on and so forth. It's just wild because last year, all we ever heard from the Bureau of Labor Statistics when we were looking at things are, oh, things are going well, hundreds of thousands of jobs are being created, and that the unemployment rate was very low. But now, miraculously, we're talking about the fact that unemployment is about 5 months on average for the average job seeker, which, according to you guys and other things I'm reading, it's usually a lot longer. Maybe it's 5 months to just give in, throw in the towel, and do something like delivering food or being an Uber driver. But to find a job that was similar to the one that you had before you got laid off, they're saying is maybe 5 months, but I don't know if that is true. I feel like finding a comparable job after getting laid off is much, much worse. I mean, it was bad before, and then we have the additional competition from the federal workers who had to return to office or get fired, and some of them chose to get fired. Same thing with all these big corporations around the country who had these return to offices, and people decided not to return and they got let go. And even if you did decide to return, you could still get laid off. I mean, there's been layoff after layoff, and I haven't heard news in the past year and a half of researching and applying of any companies really growing. And if they are growing, they're growing overseas. So maybe there's a company that is growing in India or they're growing in the Philippines, but I don't know of any companies that are growing and employing more people than they used to or going on a hiring spree of American workers. And then that's an interesting statistic of you're gone a month, or you're applying or searching for a job for a month for every $10,000 you're in. I don't know if that is true, but that's an interesting tidbit. Next, we go to Reddit, where somebody says, I'll be 42 and unemployed for over a year. I've applied to hundreds of jobs, had God knows how many phone calls, going through rounds of interviews. After all the work and hopes, out of nowhere, I'll get ghosted. They just shoot me to voicemail when they called me saying they were interested. I call back and get ghosted. Don't think they won't ignore you after 3 weeks of intense interviews and with everything they're looking for. Out of nowhere, boom, you're ghosted and ignored. No email, no telling the person so they won't waste time. So we sit and wait while other jobs may pass us by, even though they aren't interested or in your wheelhouse. Just know it's not you. I even got rejected from multiple Home Depots, Walmarts, and Lowe's, which blows my mind. I'll be taking a huge pay cut compared to my last job, but having $0 in the bank, and I don't really know the grammar of the rest of this, but basically you interview, you think it goes well, you think you're going to get passed on to the next person, and then it's crickets. So this is something familiar that I can relate to, unfortunately, because recently, like 2 months ago, I had an interview from a referral of a friend, and it was, I thought, a good interview. It went 45 minutes where it was only scheduled for 30 minutes because the person said that they can continue to talk and continue the conversation. And I thought, definitely good enough to make it to the next level, to the next round of interviews with maybe a vice president or a senior manager or something like that. And I never heard anything back. So the ghosting is real, even if you're having interviews. And this other interview I had at the same time, I didn't get like a call or anything like that, but at least I got an email saying that they're going to go in a different direction. And a couple of days later, after that, I saw that they reposted the job again. So I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but these are the kind of things that are really happening in today's job market. And he makes a note that you're just waiting around, passing up on other jobs. Well, no. And really, it's not even safe enough to get a job offer these days with how many scams are out there. Like, I want to be in the job working maybe for a couple of days before I feel like I really got an actually good job. And I would not pass up on any other job, any other opportunity, or stop applying while going through this interview process, because you don't know what's going to happen. This person continues and they say, she called and reached out like crazy, and after a nice conversation, never heard from again. I called to politely follow up and it goes, this customer has sent this call to voicemail, so it's a deliberate ignore. I won't name the company, but it's not unknown, but not huge. If the government and state of New York helped in any way, it would be great. But they haven't given a cent and denied all my applications, even though their record shows I made $0 in the last year. I don't qualify for help. If that doesn't qualify, what does? It's to the point where I'm giving myself another month, and if nothing, looking out of state and will move. New York is taking a toll on me, and I'm tired of seeing these must be able to lift 100 pounds without machine or help, paying $16. Who the heck could lift 100 pounds by hand without breaking something? Maybe the world's strongest man, but these requirements by everyone are ridiculous. And sadly, in 2025, everything has to be on the table. Do you have to take a role in a different industry? Potentially. Do you have to move out of state? Potentially. Especially where rents are so high. I mean, I don't know what the rent is like in the Dakotas, but it's got to be less than living in Florida like I do, or in New York or California. So you have to be open to go wherever the jobs are and take whatever job you can actually manage to get, unfortunately. Okay, I'm done ranting, but you're not alone. Could be worse. I have people and family depending on me, and when you can't afford anything for your kid, it really eats you up inside. But I try not to show it. He deserves better, and I'm trying so hard. I know moving states isn't a solve-all problem, but I have more connections with companies in many states, so trying to get something up prior. Hopefully something sticks one way or another. And here's the American dream right now. It used to be where a single person could make enough money to support their wife, their kids, own a home, all this stuff. Now, you don't even get the opportunity to even have one job. So you're going off of savings, you're maybe borrowing money from the bank, taking out a loan, borrowing money from friends, from family. It's just, it shouldn't be this hard to get a job. And it's not even people fighting for dream jobs, jobs they're happy about, jobs they're going to be joyous to take on. It's just going to be jobs that pay the bills. If it even pays the bills, you might have to get 2 or 3 different jobs. So, I mean, it's not people just being greedy and just trying to make $200,000 or trying to just have jobs that they're in love with, that fulfill them or whatever. It's just trying to make any kind of money in this economy, in this day and age, is just a nightmare. Just get one person to take an opportunity on you. And people are open to switching industries. People are applying to jobs at retailers, at grocery stores. I mean, you used to be able to get these jobs as a teenager, and now you can't get it as a seasoned adult. It just doesn't make any sense. People are open to moving across states and doing all these things, bending over backwards, and that's still not enough. I don't know what the solution is, but this can't continue for too much longer for many Americans. We continue with Reddit, and this poster says, I was flown out for 2 days of intensive interviews and given the senior director's personal cell phone number because he wanted to keep the dialogue going. After 1 week of waiting patiently, I pinged the recruiter and expressed, once again, my thanks and asked how the search was going. Nothing. Waited another week. Nothing. I also pinged the hiring manager. Nothing. I left an appropriate voicemail on his personal line. Nothing. Finally, they got back to me after 3 weeks and apologized for forgetting to tell me that they decided to hire someone internally because they couldn't take the risk involved in relocating someone. And then he said, you know what? Why don't you keep HR in the loop and give them an updated resume in case we decide to hire again? We're growing like crazy and I always need good people on my team. Are you bleeping kidding me? Like, to put people through this, right? We're not talking about, oh, I had to drive 45 minutes for this interview. I mean, people are going out of state. They're flying to other places. This person had 2 days of intensive interviews, got the senior director, who I hope is the hiring manager's cell phone number, and they're just getting ghosted. I mean, it's one thing to maybe say, oh, well, everyone who possibly applies, I can't get back to them. I can't answer them. But like the people who actually have interviews, and not just Zoom interviews or just video interviews, we're talking about in-person interviews, and you're just going to treat them like that? I mean, that's rude. That's inconsiderate. That's disrespectful. And these are the kind of employers and companies that we're supposed to want to work for, who treat us like this. I mean, if you're going to be treated like that on the way in, just imagine how it's going to be when you actually work there. When maybe the rose-colored glasses are off. Maybe when the appreciation of just having any job wears off. When you're like 3-4 months in. I mean, if this is how they treat you now, I mean, this is someone you're going to want to work for 10, 15 years. I mean, come on. I mean, this is not how you treat other human beings. And maybe hiring managers are just blind to the reality of the situation. Maybe they're just completely out of touch. But even if you don't know that the situation is this bad because you've been fortunate to just stay stuck and stagnant in your position for 10 to 20 years, doesn't mean that you should completely forget how to treat other human beings. Even if the job market wasn't historically bad, this is still not how you treat people. I mean, you can't answer a call. You can't answer a text. You can't shoot someone a call or information until 3 weeks after. No, this is not how you treat people. This is not how you should. This is not how you're supposed to do business. And then they say to send an updated resume. Well, you probably had the resume. I mean, what's supposed to be changed in 3 weeks? I mean, the resume was good enough to get them an interview, and now you want an updated resume and you're talking about you're growing like crazy? I mean, what these companies are putting out into the ethos doesn't match reality. These companies are not growing like crazy. These companies are not hiring like crazy. They're posting jobs, probably getting some kind of kickback or tax write-offs from the government so that everything seems like it's going well, so that the investors stay happy, so that the stock price stays high. But the reality is, no, they're not growing. They're not hiring. They're not moving things in the right direction. They're not improving their quality. They're not doing any of these things. They're doing just enough to keep the lights on, but they're painting this narrative that everything is not just going well, but increasing, getting better. And yes, I know there's different times when stock market prices are going up because they're selling you a false bill of goods. These companies are not hiring, they're not growing, they're not taking their things to the next level. And it's just ridiculous. You can say all day, all night that you're growing, that you're expanding, that you're taking things to new heights, but it's just not true. And then lastly, someone on Reddit says, well, I've now officially reached the "you've been out of work too long" stage of my job search. Awesome. Had a recruiter reach out for a position that seemed like it was an okay fit. 3-month contract with potential for full-time hire. Went through the initial interview and thought it went well. Passed it on to the account manager and nope, you've been out of work too long. Another suggestion that a lot of people give is just do temp work. Just do temporary staffing. I mean, it's not a full-time, you might not get benefits, but just do that. Well, they're not hiring either. I mean, I've been reaching out to recruiters and they don't have any positions. They don't have anything for 3 months, 6 months. Isn't the whole point? Well, I don't know if I want to take the big risk on someone, pay them full benefit package, give them 401k, whatever it is, whatever the excuse is. So maybe we'll just do 3 months, see how it goes. I mean, the reality is even if you are a full-time employee, you're pretty much on a probationary trial period for the first 3 months anyways. But even if you want to say like, 3-month contract, well, those are not easy to get. I talked to someone the other day, a recruiter, like, oh yeah, when can you start? I'm like, I can start whenever. I mean, these job processes take a while. I don't know how many, interviews it's going to be, how many months this process is going to be. Like, oh no, we're looking to hire someone relatively quick, maybe in the next week or so. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, if this is the best offer on the table, then, let's go. I can start in a week if that's what it takes. And then the recruiter could even give me an actual interview. So these people are playing around, and I'm sure if I was able to keep track of this job posting 3-4 months from now, they still wouldn't be hiring anyone when they're looking to hire in a week, right? Someone else I interviewed with earlier this year, one of the other 2 interviews was like, oh yeah, we can start hiring pretty soon. Like it was basically like 2 weeks from now, we're looking to roll out this new project, get someone in this position and take things off. And like I said, a couple of days after I interviewed, they're already reposting the job. And Lord knows when they're actually going to hire someone for this role. So that's what I have for today. That's what's going on in social media. Let me know how your experience is going. Have you been able to land a job? Have you been ignored? Have you been ghosted? Have you gone into person to intensive multiple day interviews only to just get ghosted as well? Let me know what's going on with you down in the comments below. Talk to you later.